comments for the commissioners? Seeing none, are there any additions to the agenda?
Potentially.
Seeing none,
Well,
we will move.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think it goes hand in parcel with the other conversation we need to have in the, with the salary board. Whether we want to have those conversations here or later, I mean, whatever the chair's discretion on that.
Okay, well, yeah, if there's nothing to add at this time, unless you'd like to make a motion, I think we're gonna circle back to it.
That's fine, we can, as long as we're gonna handle it today, that's fine.
Okay. Moving into Conservation District, again, if there's anyone here to speak on the Conservation District, we'll walk up. If not, we'll turn it over to Margaret.
Okay, there are 3 items here for the Conservation District. The first is considering approval of the personnel requisition for a full-time fiscal technician in the Conservation District office. This would be effective retroactively to January 12, 2022. Second item is to approve the revision to the job description for the position of Resource Conservation Intern in the Conservation District. This would become effective January 27th, 2022. And the third item is to consider approval of the personnel requisition for a temporary full-time Resource Conservation Intern, effective January 27th, 2022. And that's a paid internship, correct, Kristen?
Yes, it was budgeted.
And budgeted. It's 3 items.
Okay. Thank you, Margaret. Is there a motion to approve those items?
motion to approve the Conservation District, items 1 through 3.
Second.
Then moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion is carried. The 10 items for the correctional facility, is there a motion to approve those 10 items?
Motion to approve the 10 items for the correctional facility.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion is carried. We'll welcome up Norm at this time to discuss the 2 items for Lucy.
Good morning. I'd like to consider approval, resignation of Kyle Sager, and also the second is consider approval of the reinstatement of Lucas Morningstar as on-call occasional. Luke was a valuable asset to us, a good dispatcher in 2021. He left in December, accepting a full-time job at Huntington for additional money and closer to home. He expressed an interest in working for us on call, so this is a good, well-trained dispatcher to cover some much-needed hours.
Okay, is there a motion to approve these 2 items?
Motion to approve emergency communications 911 items 1 and 2, and thanks to Luke for stepping up to cover some holes.
Indeed, I would second it.
Then moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 I'd like to take a moment here too, just to recognize that core group of dispatchers and supervisors still working down there day in, day out, covering vacant shifts and working through, illnesses over time. I just want to recognize some of the staff that worked, the staff that worked overtime. And we had some PSTs working 700 hours overtime last year, clean down to, the lowest is 100 hours. And I just want to emphasize the great work that that crew's doing and working there to cover shifts and working a lot of extra time to make sure we're staffed properly. So, thank you.
Thank you. And give our sincere thanks to your staff.
Thanks.
Thanks, Norm. We really appreciate what they've been doing.
Thank you, Norm. We'll look for a motion to consider the personnel requisition for a full-time legal secretary in the Public Defender's Office.
Motion to approve the personnel requisition for the Public Defender's Office.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We have 2 notes. President Treasurer West has approved the personnel requisition for a full-time sexual court coordinator. She's also approved the personnel requisition for a full-time law clerk. We have a non-personnel item, which is the first-time homebuyer program item. And I guess we're going to be considering this at this time. Margaret, we'll turn it over to you and Betsy.
Betsy, sir, go
Thank
for
you.
it.
I have for your consideration a first-time home buyer application with a slightly lower than required credit figure. So in these circumstances, we usually look at their current employer, their number of years with those employers, their annual income, their monthly debt ratio. In this particular situation, I would recommend that we could move forward on this application, but I'm seeking your approval or denial.
So you have
Any
confidence?
questions?
Yeah, you have confidence that,
I do. I do. It's the score is only 16 points lower than is required, and everything else looks good.
I would support that.
Sure, yeah, Betsy, thanks for coming. We really want to raise up the fact that we've been helping near record numbers of people buy their first homes. It's a great program, up to $10,000, interest-free loan, and you don't have to pay it back until you refinance the mortgage or pay the thing off. So it's a great program, and very much appreciate everything you've been doing.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry to make the motion, Mike.
Absolutely, please.
Motion to approve the application to the first-time homebuyer program.
Second.
Thank you.
Then moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you.
We have in front of us our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve actually, do we need to approve the budget revision first? Item number 9?
8.
Oh, 8. Sorry, item number 8, it's a budget revision for domestic relations.
Potentially, I don't have an item 8. I may be looking at an older version of the agenda. So
All right.
please, yeah, if there's an item there.
Sure.
We can discuss it at this time, sure.
Yes, apologies for that. I think you have the previous version of the agenda. This is a budget revision in our domestic relations budget. It was discussed this morning at Finance Committee. It basically is a movement from our general fund to our DRS budget. The bottom line is the same. It's just a matter of getting the money to be reflected in the right place. And this is important because we submit these numbers to the state and they need to see that the accurate numbers are part of the DRS budget. So again, this was discussed this morning at our Finance Committee.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the budget revision?
Motion to approve the budget revision for domestic relations.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion is carried. Okay, then to our consent agenda, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. All right, Commissioner Higgins, we'll turn it over to you for the check run.
Sure, a substantially larger than average check run in the amount of $9,294,591.42. And the check of the week, let me turn the pages here till I find it, is for our Agricultural Land Preservation Board. I won't mention the name of the farm, but it's in the amount of $50,000. And we'd like to thank the family for, I'm assuming probably taking a bit of a financial haircut to preserve that farm in perpetuity as agricultural land. So I will make the motion to approve the check run dated January 21st.
I will second that.
The check run has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the check run? Hearing none, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 The motion has carried. Okay. Next on the agenda, I'm just pulling up the most recent version. Okay. So we will then go into COVID-19 planning and response. And we have discussion about masking, our masking policy and potential procurement of masks. We'll turn it to Margaret.
Okay, thanks very much. Over the last several weeks, we've talked about the possibility of changing our masking policy to require that employees would continue to mask. That's been in place for quite some time now, but they would mask with either surgical masks or N95s or KN95 masks. And to that end, we've done some research about what it would look like if we actually purchased surgical masks for our employees and provided those masks to them as a way to assist in this. I'm going to turn it over to Kristen to talk about what would specifically need to change in the policy itself and how much it would cost us if we were to actually purchase surgical masks for our employees.
Thank you. Within the policy itself, the changes would be very minor, basically changing the description of what is an acceptable mask to be worn, and also providing information that this recommendation is coming from the CDC, that the masks, that the surgical masks, the N95s, the KN95s are the preferred masks that should be used for better protection. In looking at the cost of the masks, Krista Davis from our Risk Management and Operations has worked with our EMA group to get some bulk pricing on masks if we were able to provide basically packets of the surgical masks to employees, 10 to 20 for each employee, take them through a few weeks at a time. We are looking at a cost of approximately 8 cents per mask is what we're estimating to get us through a few weeks. We don't have the delivery date. We are requesting expedited delivery. We're trying to find the turnaround time still. But we don't, and she doesn't anticipate the cost going beyond $2,000. In fact, she anticipates it being less. But she would like to be able to move forward with this with a not to exceed $2,000 cap on it to get masks to get everyone through at least 4 to 5 weeks for every employee, the surgical style mask. Anyone has any questions?
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, thank you, Kristen. And yeah, I think that the whole basis around this is that the more and more we learn about masking, unfortunately, the cloth masks are as they're just not as effective as the surgical masks. And in terms of washing the cloth mask, that can be time consuming, but just putting another surgical mask on to keep us all safe in the workplace. And again, just reduce the spread of Omicron as we see it rapidly spreading within the county and elsewhere. So that's really the basis about this. We can have further discussion if we want to think about this a little bit more. Put it on Tuesday's agenda, we can certainly do that, but this is just to kickstart the conversation.
I think if you're going to require folks to have a certain type of mask, we should provide them, so that would be my thought on this.
I'm fine with providing them, and I'm assuming if somebody wanted to put a cloth mask on top of a surgical mask, that's just fine. Yeah. And that is a heck of a good price. I've been paying quite a bit more than 8 cents per surgical mask.
Right, this is because we're able to get them at
Yes.
because of the volume that we'd be buying.
Yeah.
Because we'd be looking, if we wanted to provide 20 masks to each employee, it would take them through 4 weeks, approximately, considering 5 business days. That's asking us to get about 9,600 masks, approximately.
Now, since this is less than 10 grand, can we just direct the administrator to take care of it, or do we want an official motion?
I think since it wasn't budgeted, we would have to take
Oh,
an
yes.
official motion. I think
All right.
that's the only caveat there.
Okay. So something in the ballpark of a motion to purchase as many as 20 surgical masks for all Center County employees on a not to exceed $2,000 budget.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion has carried. Okay, thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.
Okay. We have, Margaret, any executive sessions to report?
No executive sessions to report.
Okay. Questions from the press? Gary, we'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And if I'm not coming through clearly, I'll allow my colleagues to answer.
I don't have any. No.
Gary doesn't have any questions, Mike.
Oh,
We don't have a microphone back there, so.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so we would look to recess the commissioners meeting at this time.
All right, so motion to recess the commissioners' meeting at 10:25.